Hello, my fellow readers. Dark Symphony 777 with another video. I bet you're wondering why am I doing a video and you see this paper, and also why do I have a bunny? I mean, she's a pet bunny. Say hi to the bunny. Pet the bunny. She's gonna be, she's gonna be joining me. For context, I'm a little rascal, but for full context, over years, over since I started this channel with the fanfiction reviews, I have rated every single fanfiction on a scale of 1 to 10. So you can see the story, 6 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Anything that's a better off alone tier story is over 10. However, over the past couple, over the course of this year and last year, I've been having trouble figuring out some fan fiction because some of them are like really, really in the middle of where I think they should be, and it's kind of causing problems because there's even some stories that kind of flip between what I recommended and what I'm not, and there's also the fact do I consider it as a better off alone tier or not, and because of this number rating system, I kind of confuse myself a lot, and so I decided to try and do a different way of doing things. So I basically did this sort of grading sheet. We have F, D, C, B, A, S, and then BOA, short for Better Off Alone, to figure out where I want each story to go. Now, I'm not going to review every I'm not going to do a video of doing every single fan fiction. Unless you really want me to, I'm pretty much going to do most of this off camera. But I thought I would have a little fun and do maybe like the first 25, 30 stories and basically go down memory lane. Like the first several reviews I've done, because I know a lot of people, a lot of the people who actually watch my videos, they kind of joined up around, I would say 2020, 21, around there. I think I think Jaw is the only one who's been around the longest. I think. I'm not 100% sure. But I figured, let's just have a little fun with this. Talk about some of the oldest fan fictions I've actually reviewed, and hope you enjoy it. Now, I'm not going to say, should I ask you to review, to subscribe? Probably not. Nah. I don't think this video is worth uh, wanting to subscribe to this channel for. Like I said, this is gonna be a little fun little video. So, the very first fan fiction I've actually ever reviewed on this channel is Yu-Gi-Oh! The Thousand Year Door by Occam's Razor, formerly known as Cyber Commander. This is actually part of This was actually, well, it wasn't the first fan fiction I was considering. This one just happened to be the first one I happened to review. So fun fact, this story actually has a redone version. You can actually see it right here. And honestly, the redone version is just a million times better than this. The general premise for this story is you have three kids. You have Francine, you have Andrew. Oh my god. I actually completely forgot who Yugi the Thousand Year Door. Because I actually completely forgot who the three characters are. Who are the three characters? Stanley, Francesca, and Andy. Those are the three main characters. And they're invited to this big old island tournament run by a lady named Sydney. And she reveals that this location, this island, actually actually inspired Nintendo. Yes, I'm not joking. That actually happens. To use as the location for the events of the Thousand Year Door. So basically, they're in Newport. They go on the like the Express. I think it's implied they only play. No, even Glitchville exists. All the places that are actually in the game exist on this island. They're real locations, and it's a standard Yu-Gi-Oh tournament fic. Every single chapter, they meet someone, they talk, they duel, and then you rinse and repeat. The problem with the original is the original doesn't have a lot of the great character developments that the Redux version is. The main three characters, they're not exactly the best. The secondary villains, the Shadow Spawn, they're not really that well written. The Shadow Queen is probably the only well written character in the original. There's also a lot of other weird things, like you had Andy, who was sort of a Yugi fanatic, so he kind of like based his deck on Yugi. And at the end, we had like a cameo of Yami beating Lord Crump, and it was a lot. And Francisca, I think, like in the original, she was kind of like a feminist character. It really didn't. I don't think it worked. It's been so long since I read the original, and I'm more familiar with the. I better remember the Redux version. That's the problem. Everything that this story did, the remake did a million times better, and I can't really remember it that well. So for clarity's sake, I'm going to put this story C minus. There we go. Let me actually. Hold on. Let me. Okay, so yeah, there we go. I numbered. I managed to number all of them. All right, so we got Dolls in Your Door. Next one, Journey Through Light and Darkness by Plasma Knight. So you're wondering why is there no author here? Because the author, Plasma Knight, actually took down the story, and there's actually four volumes. I actually reviewed all four of them together, but there are four separate volumes. The general gist of the story is based around the duel monsters themselves. So basically, it's a sort of large-scale adventure story following Mana, the Dark Magician Girl, Mahad, the Dark Magician, and there's they get a gigantic cast like Lance, the Paladin of White Dragon. They got Orland, who's a legendary fisherman. They get Leon, the swordsman, Siegfried, the Buster Blader, and so on and so on and so on. And they basically go and try and save the dual monster realm from Magus, the Dark Magician of Chaos, and then it turns out to be an original character named Zalanoth. It's an overall really, really well done story. I'm lucky I still have like the actual copies of the story that he gave me. So for this story, for volumes 1, I just realized I need to get rid of this because these numbers are just going to be not here anymore. Volumes 1 to 3 are going to be B plus. Yeah, vol 1. It's yep, there we go. Vol 2, and then Vol 3. 3, while Volume 4 is going to be a minus, because I think Volume 4 is the best part of the entire trilogy, of the entire 4-part series. It wraps up everything really well. There's also a final fight between Mana and Magus teaming up against Mazalonoth. It also built, and I really love the build up of the summon mechanic of the whole summit plot line that was present throughout most of the stories, culminating in that in Mana summoning Stardust Dragon, because it's always been implied, well, like the story kind of goes into 5Ds, but we don't know, and it's always been implied that the 5D monster may appear and seeing Stardust Dragon at the end, like the climax. Granted, he's not the only dragon. Black Rose Dragon shows up too, but it's still really cool. Just really the final fight between those three is a really really well done fight. I still think nearly 500 fan fictions later, it's like the best. It's easily the best fight I've read. Still, really well done. I don't really have anything bad to say about any of these. So, oh wait, I need to copy. Let's copy, 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 and then copy. All right. Let's see. Next one, Mario Luigi Bowser by Wakazoo. This is an easy BOA. Like honestly, where should I put it? Yeah, BOA plus. So this story is a novelization of Mario and Luigi's Bowser's Inside Story. And I love Bowser's Inside Story. I think it's a great fan fiction. I think it's a great game. This is a fan fiction based off a great game. This was like one of the two fan fictions I actually followed from the beginning. Although, unlike Deluge, uh, this story I was actually asked by the author herself because at the time I was actually friends with her. She literally asked me, said, "Can you literally follow this story and kind of give me your general opinions on the whole thing as the story goes along?" I actually agreed to that. I said it was a really great story. I don't really have anything. I had nothing bad to say about it. She kind of told me about a little bit of the background of how she worked on it. She worked like it took her nearly 30 hours just to write the script, not even of the story, but the script of the entirety of the game. Like she literally watched Mario and Luigi Bowser's That Story for 30 hours just so she can write every single line that's said in a cutscene, and that's dedication. And that's not even like I said, that's not even getting into the drafts and the first drafts and the final drafts. That took all in all, the story took her nearly over 100 hours straight of researching, getting a general sense of the draft, figuring out what she wants to do, uh, understanding how she wants to do things. First draft, second draft, third draft. Just so much time took up this place, and I love this story. It's literally just Bowser and a story. The only difference is that instead of Mario and Luigi being the main characters, it's Starlo who's the main character. Mainly because in the story, Bowser's actually dying. Basically, Fawful basically messed up his hammer space and completely destroyed it, and so Starlo has to use her star magic to basically keep everything together as much as possible to basically so that they don't die. Basically, she will die. Toadsworth will die. All the Toads, Princess Peach, they would all die if Starlo doesn't keep everything together. So it's a really nice change of pace that still feels like Bowser in a story because it doesn't really change any of the plot. It's still being by and large the same plot. It's just centered around a character to kind of get to know her thought process, her feelings towards Bowser, her feeling towards the Star Sprites, because she starts to not exactly start to distrust them as the story goes along, because they're willing to literally, they're not exactly the nicest people because they're willing to kill Bowser, and lots even if it costs like Mario and Luigi their lives, it's like, Bowser will die. At least that's good. And it's a really, really great tale that even if you're not familiar with the game, why aren't you? Because this is a great game. It's great. It's just an overall fun time to be had. I don't really have any complaints about this. So this is where it's gonna go. This is a great story. Yeah. The Ballad of Squiggly. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. This is the only good Skullgirls fan fiction out there, and I love Skullgirls. I think Skullgirls is a great story. It's a great game from a fighting standpoint. I love. I'm not a big fighting game fan, but Skullgirls is like really pick up. It's really fun to play. I like the characters, and Squiggly got dumped dirty. So Ballad of Squiggly. So this is based around the the Squiggly storyline. So basically, for long story short, Sienna Contiello was from a family of opera singers, and so Double, acting as the skies, set up this whole sort of pseudo sting operation. Got into Lorenzo Medici's head that the Contiellos at this party are going to conspire against them to basically overthrow the Medici mafia. And so, in response, Lorenzo sends a massive strike force led by Black Dahlia to kill everyone. And that's basically what happens. We get like a very gory shot of like Black Dahlia holding up Sienna with her gun right to her head, and it goes to black, and you hear the gun, and then you hear the gunshot, and it basically blows out her eye. Sienna's father, who had a Leviathan in him, he basically begged Leviathan, go protect Squiggly. He leaves him, dies. They give the Squiggly's mother the skull heart, and in her grief, Squiggly's mother wishes upon the skull heart and turns herself into Skull Girl. Right around the time Squiggly actually wakes up, and so together with Leviathan, they manage to actually kill her mother. But because of how her mother's wish worked, because her wish was she basically wants an eternal family, so everyone kind of became zombies. And since Squiggly was like half dead, it kind of made that wish in perpetual stasis. So that way, every time the Skull Heart wakes up, she wakes up too. And so her mission is basically every time she wakes up, she has to go find the Skull Heart, take it down, and then she goes back to sleep, which leads to her story, which exactly happens. She basically befriends Philia. She destroys the Skull Heart, then she goes back to sleep. Ballad of Squiggly takes place 7 years after her story in the game. She wakes up. She meets an adult Philia, because adult Philia is now like a cop. Samson is still Samson, because, of course, Samson wouldn't be Samson without being Samson. Starring Samson. And Squiggly's basically just trying to finish the job because, you know, like all she has in life is to just wake up and destroy the Skull Heart and then go back to sleep. She knows she's gonna die eventually because her body's still decaying, and they'll eventually decay to the point where Leviathan can't keep it alive anymore. But she's willing to like sacrifice herself. She's willing to sacrifice herself to basically to the selfless cause. It's an overall average story. Again, it's kind of sad that this is basically the extent of Skullgirls fanfictions. Damn shame. Because at the end of the day, the story is painfully average. When I first read this years and years ago, I say over around a decade now, I actually predicted everything that was going to happen. Like, oh, Philly is going to be working for Double. Double's going to be involved. The Skull Heart's going to be in Black Dahlia. Everything I said, predicted, came true. Ugh. And it's kind of cringe. I mean, the story's not bad. The problem is it's so painfully average. And for a world like Skullgirls, which has a lot of potential to have these crazy stories, having the only going out of your way story to be average. It's not that. It's really kind of cringe. There's also the fact that let me see if I can actually balance with. Let's see. I think I still have my reviews in here, right? Let's see. Let's see. I think here it is. No wait. Yeah, that was my review. I basically sent him. This is my review. This is when I finished it all the way back in 2014. I sent him a private message saying my only real complaint of this story was the fight scenes, because the fight scenes played out like you're actually watching Skullgirls gameplay. I thought that was kind of that just felt off. And so just make it 3D. Make it you have these big arenas like during the fight with Cerebella, because Philly and Squiggly team up to fight Cerebella for information. You're surrounded by a bunch of items. Cerebella's a grappler. Just have her pick stuff up and throw them. Use the area around you. Don't have it read like you're playing Skullgirls. Have her slam, and the guy took my advice and basically made all the fights except for I think like the last two completely different, because the last two at least don't feel like Skullgirls fights. They at least felt different. But yeah, Skullgirl was Bella Squiggly's okay. 2017. Bella Squiggly's okay. I don't have anything else to say about this story. Besides, if you're a Skullgirls fan, go check it out. I think it's okay enough. I don't really have, like I said, I don't have anything bad to say about the story. Memories Left Underground by Ubermensch. There's another average one. No, average one. No, I put this one right here in average. So this is a FNAF sisters location. So, there we go. Centered specifically around Ballora. So you don't know, about a decade ago, not a decade, around 2015, 2016, I think. Sister Location came out, and we got introduced to the Funtime animatronics, and we also got introduced to a robot named Ballora, who's a ballerine robot with like her eyes closed, and she looks very off-putting because she's like the only humanoid-looking one, and she even has like a breast. And this story kind of plays on that. So this guy named Eric basically goes to work at the sister location, and everything kind of plays out the same until he gets to Ballora's cage, because Ballora kind of has confidence issues in the story, because a lot of people didn't. She was like the least popular animatronic in the old style because of the fact that she didn't look like a playtime. She looked like a sex doll, and then when Ballora catches Eric right when he's about to escape, and he's basically getting an allergic reaction, she opens her eyes to see who she is. She realizes it's Eric, and she just completely freaks out. It's like, oh no! And she basically, and then her and the Fun Times and Circus Baby, they all just hang out and just kind of goof off and just kind of hang out, because they realize, hey, we like Eric because we like you because you cheered up Ballora. You were there for Ballora, so we're gonna befriend you. It's an okay story. There is that weird romance between Eric and Ballora. I think it's kind of weird, but nothing really bad. There's also the fact that Eric doesn't really fight Enard at the end. It's actually Circus Baby that fights Enard, because Enard's like really finds out that like all the other animatronics are like, shit, they're not working for him anymore because they don't want to kill this kid, because he befriended one of them. And he basically just tries to dupe everyone, and Circus Baby's like bust down the door, and it's like, no, I'm gonna. And Eric and Ballora just see Baby just attacking, and Art's like, you ain't hitting him, you ain't hurting him. And it's over. It's an okay story. I don't have anything bad to say about it. Let's see. Next one. The Only a Girl trilogy by Lance X Storm. Oh boy. I need to actually look up the story. Give me a second. Okay. This is the only a Girl Out of This World trilogy. 3 stories by Lance X Storm 5, and it's centered around Crystal. Of course. So the context of this trilogy is this boy named Light, who's kind of depressed. He's bullied. He doesn't really. Only has a couple friends, but he doesn't really have anything going for him. And so he gets a relic from his uncle, who's an archaeologist, who says this as a friend who has can give you a wish. And he wishes it. He really just wants someone to love, and it summons Crystal from Star Fox from her world into the real world, and that's basically the setup for the plot of the first story. And the rest of the plot is just Crystal wants to go home, and Light's like, "All right, I'll help you get home." And he gets depressed, and they go on an adventure. They meet other characters. They save the world, and then eventually Light and Crystal, they fall in love with each other. They get married. They even have kids. And then you have the second story, which is the honeymoon, where they realize Crystal and have a fan club, and it's well, we're going to mess with them. Why? For the money. And of course, Crystal finds out. It's honey, Crystal, honey, no, don't hurt them. Don't hurt them. All right, I won't. You're right. And here comes the giant fist. And of course, then we have the final part of the trilogy where Crystal is feeling homesick, so she basically grabs the Star Fox world and drags it into their universe. And basically, Fox shows up. He gains all his memories. Crystal gains memories from Command for some reason. And basically, Light and Fox, they kind of get into a rivalry over Crystal because Fox is like, you literally took my future wife away. Well, she's mine. And then they basically have to save the world. With Andros shows up, and the villain from the first story comes back to life. It's a very, very confusing story, but I don't really have any. Actually, I don't have anything bad to say about it. It's painfully generic. That's really the worst I can say about it. The first story is definitely the weakest. I'd probably put it here. Yeah, I'll put it here. All right. 2017. Don't worry, I'm not only going to do a couple more. Yeah, right here. Star Fox. Lance X Storm 5. Honeymoon Matt. This is more of a comedy story. I think comedy for this one is good. This one is going to be in C plus 2017. Girls Honeymoon Madness, and then yeah, let's do that. Let's see, and finally, Only a Girl Breaking the Barriers. I actually think this is a good. This is actually a pretty good fic. I'm gonna put this at B plus. It has enough content and it has a more coherent plot. I don't have anything really bad to say. Again, the story is painfully generic. 2017. That's really its only flaw. But just because something's painfully generic doesn't mean something is written badly. Okay. Okay. Roger the Vigilante. Oh boy, the first Big O fanfiction. I'm a big fan of Big O. I think it's a really, really fun anime. Go check it out. I think you can get you go actually watch all, with the exception of the first episode, you can watch the entire anime on YouTube. You get the sub version. I actually prefer the dub version. I just think the dub version is much more iconic and better. That's just me. If you like the sub, you gotta check it out. Watch the entire thing on YouTube. Except first episode, you gotta go on your way to watch that. So this story takes place after the events of episode 26 or Act 26, where they defeat Big Foul, and then Roger has to plead with Angel and Big Venus to basically keep the world as it is. Everything kind of goes back to normal. There is some loose ends left. Beck Gold has his memories, and and Dorothy shuts down. Uh, Roger basically drags Beck Gold, Jason Beck into his house. Basically, you're gonna repair Dorothy, and he basically does, but he puts Dorothy's psychotic robotic twin sisters AI into her, so she starts acting like her sister, basically just trying to kill Roger. And the story kind of ends with that, with shutting her down, and then Roger basically persuading, i.e., he gets a fist out, Jason Beck to basically put the right core into Dorothy and turning her back to normal. It is very faithful to Big O. That's something I'm going to be saying a lot with the other. Oh no, just this one, because I think after this I got two more stories. It's very faithful to the anime. Like, if you watch the anime and then you read this story, it's very, very faithful to what Big O is about, and that gets all the kudos to everything. It's just long enough to feel like an episode, but it doesn't too long when it does um, where it drags around. It's the perfect length. These stories are not that long. They're only I think the longest one's only 35,000 words. I think it's been a while since I read these. I remember them vividly. It's just I can't remember how long each one was. Granted, Galaxy 1001D really, really got obsessed with the Batman references later in the story. Just throwing in Batman references literally every story, even if it didn't make sense. It got annoying, and then the final story had a bunch of Bioshock references for whatever godly reason. But this story got itself off on the right foot. I'm going to put this a solid A. I think that's good. Right. 2017. There we go. Two more stories. We got Technicolor Technomare by Tetsuro. So this is an author who has a really big habit of having pretty much the same premises just done a bunch of different times. It basically takes a random pony, shoves him in a different world, gets raised by a certain character. In this instance, he takes Rainbow Dash and has her raised by Tony Stark. And then she becomes a member of the Avengers, and then at the end, she basically just goes home. It's supposed to be a cinematic thing where each pony gets powers, the powers of the person who are raised by her. In essence, Rainbow Dash gets a suit of armor. It's really cheesy. It's really sappy, but I don't think it's actually bad. It's just it's one of those stories that you need to read a bunch of side stuff, because a lot of these stories are actually connected in some way, shape, or form. Not all of them, but this is just one of them. And it's just really, really weird. I completely forgot. He also made one with the Cutie Mark Crusaders getting raised by Uncle. One more thing. Yeah, let's yeah. Let's put this at the A minus. I don't think it's all right. No, wait. There. It, it's all right. It's nothing too spectacular, but it's happy. It's like a family fic. Tony Stark gets jealous of like anyone like befriending his daughter too much, and he gets like very protective and all that. It's very cutesy. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. Let's see. Yeah, one more. I got two more. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Thousand Year Door Redux by Occam's Razor. Yes, this is the Redux version. I love this version. Fixes everything with the original story. It gives each of the characters their own summoning mechanic. One guy. Stan uses fusions. Stan uses fusions. Francisca uses synchros, and then Andy uses XCs, and we got the running gag of what's the name of that one XCs monster? It's one of the musical gyms. Let me see. Let me actually look. Let me see a picture of him. Yeah, this guy constantly gets summoned, and he like plays like random music. Like he plays Devil's Calls to Georgia, and every time when the guy says, "You're gonna attack him," he starts running. He starts charging at the enemy while playing the guitar. Like yes. It's actually kind of funny picturing this guy with the rose in his hand, winning a card, just charging at someone while continuously playing like songs like "The Devil Goes to Georgia" or like I think he plays like a Led Zeppelin song. I think I can't remember. I can't remember what songs this. But it's actually a pretty hilarious running gag. Uh, the Shadow Spawn are brought upon. They're more sympathetic. Well, they still retain their jackasses, except for Vladimir. But they are more sympathetic because now they basically just want to be free from their mother's control because she's kind of going too far. You have like an extra gimmick, better incorporating the Deckmaster gimmick from the Virtual War arc. Sydney's a much better villain. She you even have like a side plot with Count Bluck showing up. Everything's really well done. I think this story is really, really good. I don't think it's good enough to be an S tier, but I know. I think I'm gonna put it with the regular A. One more story. Okay, so what is the last story? Oh, I completely forgot that I did a reading on this. My very first reading. Is this story even still up? Hold on. I want to see. Does the story even? Oh, it is. It's still. It's still up. Oh, it's still up. Okay. Um. So this is a story. So okay, okay. How do I approach this? Because this is a short story, and it's basically just Rarity going around calling stuff filth because she saw Sweetie Belle read a comic that had I think like boobs in it. I think is no wait no they actually never reveal what it was, and she overreacts to the entire situation, and then she starts going around Ponyville just being a social justice warrior. I thought it was kind of cute, but I don't think it was that great because it's still at the end of the day. See, I had a 3 out of 5. So I didn't really have it that well received. Let's see, what would I put it? Because it's not a great story because it's still political, and honestly, it doesn't matter what the type of story it is. Political stories, specifically like these, they're not really going to be popular because you can actually tell. I think it's not. Oh no, it has a lot of like. Let's see. Don't apologize. Never mind. Yeah. Was I right to do what I did to Genesis and remember she comes Sambor? Yeah. So basically the whole point is just Rarity just acting like a social justice warrior. I never wonder who those social justice warriors are. Yeah, they're the word kind of has officially lost meaning. But I still it was kind of poignant years ago. Where do I put it? This is the one. This is like the first. This is the first one that's actually stopped me. I don't know where to put it. Sure, I think. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna put it as no. I'm gonna put it as a B because I don't. It is a comedy story. It's like you can actually tell. It's random. Oh, it's despite it saying random and slice of life, it is kind of funny because of Rarity's reacting to everything. It is kind of chuckle worthy. But I don't really. But it doesn't really stand out to me. So yeah, that is the first. These are like the first 10 stories. Technically, 15. So yeah, I thought I'd just have a little fun with this. Just do the first couple, and then just do the rest off camera. If you want to see, honestly, if you want me to do more of this on camera, maybe I might do more. Yeah, I don't really know. And also like the video and subscribe to the channel. I will see you next time. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and say bye, Bunny. Ryson says bye.